So in this final video, we're going to look at the surface we've just created from the contour lines. We're going to check its precision one more time by drawing some new contour lines. We're going to change the scale of this to feet and inches, which we're going to be working in for the rest of the quarter, and then create some new contour lines at 1 foot intervals rather than the 0.5 meter intervals that we used and that were given to us with the topography bitmap that we started with. So I'm going to go and actually take the surface that I created as that sort of edge of the box. I'm just going to delete that because we don't need it. And I'm going to draw a new set of contours. And so I'll create a new layer and I'll call these check contours. And I'll give that a color of light gray or white, something that will stand out. And I'm going to make sure that I'm working in that layer. That's the current layer. And I'm going to use the right-hand view and select, I don't need to select actually at the bottom. I'm going to use a curve creation tool under the curve pull down. Under the curve from objects flyout, there is the contour command. Now you can also start this command from the command buttons on the left. There's a flyout from project curves, and it's the one here in the middle that is for contouring. So contouring is running, and it wants to know the object for contouring. So I'm going to make sure actually that I select the surface, which will be the source of the contours. So that's selected. Press enter when done. And now it wants to know the base point, and so I can use a corner of this rectangle that we drew initially because I know that that's on 0, 0. So I'll click on that, and I'll hold shift to tell it which direction. I'll go up to tell it which direction. And now it wants to know the distance between contours, and I'm going to say, in this case, 0.5 for 0.5 meters in between contours. And it's now creating new 0.5 contours. So if we come back here to our three-dimensional view, we can see that in white we have a series of new contours, in many cases overlaying the red or yellow ones originally. In some cases we see some new contours that have showed up, specifically in these sort of peaks and valleys. But what I'm seeing is a pretty good fidelity. There are some places like this where the contours do diverge a little bit, but for the purposes of our project, this is close enough to being a replication of the contouring that we started with in the new surface that we have. Now I don't really need these 0.5 contours, but why don't you leave the check contours on there so we can look at it, and that when I look at your files I can see how close your surface came. Now keep in mind, if you use different settings for the patch surface creation, it's possible that your surface might not be quite as close to the contours as this one is. So remember, it's not an exact science. What we're going to do now is change the scale of this. We've been working in meters, and now we're going to change this to feet and inches, which is not difficult to do. I'm going to go to Tools and Options, and then down to the units, which is here. Model units, I'm going to change from meters to feet. And down below I can tell it that I want feet and inches, and so you can see that things will be typed in and displayed as 1 foot, 1-1/4 inch is how we're going to work. Metric units are really convenient to work in, and many of you might come from places where metric is what is used. But in this case, we're going to convert to feet and inches and get used to using that here. So we're going to ask it to change. It says, should we scale the model? Yes. And the model grows, but in fact it is now to the same dimensions in feet as it was in metric. So the 100 meters along this edge is a little over 300 feet, and you can check that by typing in distance and just checking the distance of one edge of that rectangle, and that's 328 feet, which I know is that's a good conversion from 100 meters to 328 feet. So what we're going to do now is put in yet another layer, and this one is going to be the 1 foot contour layer, and I'm going to give that perhaps a dark gray. Well, I'll give it a gray color. And now I'm going to turn off the other topographic layers. I'll make the 1 foot contour my current layer. I'll turn off the check contour layer, and I'll go through the contouring exercise one more time. And it's fun when you can see it happening on the 3D surface. So I'll do it in a way that we can have that happen. This time I'll get the contour command from the flyout here, curve from object in the middle, contour. And it asks me to input a surface, and I'll hit enter when done. It wants to know a base point, and so I'll be grabbing the corner of the rectangle that we drew at the very beginning of this. In a direction, I'll hold shift. I'm working, as you can see, in the right-hand view, so that I'm going up perpendicular to the XY plane in the Z plane. Click again, and it wants to know the distance between contours, and I will tell it 1 foot. I will hit return, and there it is, cutting the 1 foot contours up through the new surface. So there we have it. We have created our topo lines from the metric bitmap, and then created a new surface from that, scaled it, or moved it from metric units to feet and inches, and created 1 foot contour lines. This is very useful. In fact, you might find yourself creating different contours for a surface depending on what size model you want to make. If you're going to be using a laser cutter and you're making your model with pieces of cardboard that you measure and find out that they're approximately 6 inches, you could come through and do this to create 6-inch contours. In fact, I could just do that right now very quickly. I'll just call this 6-inch. I'll give it a different color, something really lurid, like this pink color. And I'll make sure I'm working in that layer. I'll turn off the 1 foot contours, and very quickly just redo the contouring. Just type CONT, contour, select the surface, return, base point there, direction, perpendicular up in the Z, and in this case I'll say 6 inches. If you don't type the inches, you'll get them 6 feet apart. And so now it's going to create 6-inch contours. And so if you were making a model and you knew that the thickness of your model material, E-flute or what have you, was going to be about 6 inches, there you'd have all the curves that you'd need to export to the laser cutter. More on that in future videos and future assignments, but this is our starting point, so that you now have a landscape to work with to start creating a swimming pool and other elements. Thank you.